What's going on, everybody? Welcome to part 2 of our beautiful episode where we allow Muslims to come up here and prove us wrong, but just not just us, Thaddeus and Maximus Swagamus, but Ali Dawah, who is the newest up-and-coming Christian apologist on the scene, right? So you guys are welcome to come in and tell us if there are really scientific miracles in the Quran. Thaddeus, David Wood, Maximus Swag, blah, blah. How you guys doing, man? You guys all right?
Sorry. I had the door open for a couple hours, and now there are all these bugs flew in here.
And that's what happens. That's what happens.
I will be, just so you know,
just remember,
spotting quite a bit.
just seek refuge.
If one lands in your drink, you know what to do.
Dunk that sucker. It's a scientific miracle.
Oh, it has to be a specific type of one of them bugs, though. It's supposed to be a fly, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean the same reasoning would apply, wouldn't it? I mean, he didn't say that, but
so you're just committing bitter right now. That's innovation.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's any bug. Any bug has the disease and the cure for the disease.
Right. There you go. There you go.
Well, it only makes sense because otherwise the disease would make the bug sick, and the bug's not sick, so it must have the cure.
I think that's perfect with our topic today because, Ali Dawah would say that would probably is complete nonsense. I mean, I would really love to ask him about certain specific things that Muhammad said and to see if he would say, that's complete nonsense. That's nonsense. Would he say that about certain things that Muhammad says? What do you guys think?
Muhammad's not wrong.
Yeah, well, I think that, I think that he couldn't say that, right? Because he has to affirm its truth. But what he would say is something like, well, we don't know what it means when Muhammad said to dunk the fly because one wing has the disease and the other the cure. That could mean anything. We just have no idea. I'm not qualified to tell you the meaning of those words. So it would be wrong of me to impose science on it.
Right. That's tough. Well, here we are, guys. We have a little over 150 people in here so far in the beginning. So make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Go ahead and 434 that like button and make sure that we're hitting the algorithm. We really appreciate you guys sharing the video and sharing the stream. Invite your Muslim friends if you guys know. We already got a super chat from Omar who says, Dr. Dizzle, Sheikh Logic, and Thaddeus, it's Christmas in July. There you go.
My name is Maximus Swagamus. Not Dr. Dizzle.
Get it right. It's Maximus Swagamus. All right. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, you guys know what's been hot. Ali Dawah has come out and has said that it's not just him, but his peers as well all know this. This is like a known fact amongst us that the scientific argument, this scientific miracle argument within the Quran is nonsense and Muslims should stop using it. It's a bad argument. It's a bad method. It's been quote unquote debunked. It's been debunked. So over the years, we've had Zakir Naik, Ahmed Deedat. We've had all these people come and it's been a main source of Dawah, one of the main sources, by saying how scientifically accurate the Quran is. So if Ali Dawah is saying that this is false, that it's been debunked, that it's a bad argument, and that Allahu Alam, Allah knows best on these things, you guys as Muslims are invited to prove him wrong and prove us that the Quran is actually a scientific book, that it makes scientific accuracies, that it doesn't get any of it wrong, that it really does talk about the Big Bang, that it really does talk about what happens in embryology, that it really does talk about how the mountains stop the earth from shaking and things of this nature and how the earth was created before the heavens. Come and prove Ali Dawah wrong. All right. So here's the link. Here it is right here. Here's the link. And moderators, if you guys can, share this link throughout the stream. This is for the Muslims, not for the believers. So it's for the Muslims to come on up. All right. So last week, what did we deal with, guys? What's some stuff that they brought up? If I talk my memory,
the same things they heard from Zakir Naik and never once bothered to examine critically because somehow they get conditioned to just accept whatever their Dawah leaders have said, even though their Dawah leaders, their Dawah champions, keep getting exposed as liars, right? It's like, guys, once you catch someone like obviously lying, what he says from then on should be under investigation. If he was joking, that's one thing. Keep in mind, I'm not just saying, if someone gets something wrong, people can get things wrong. Every human being gets things wrong. If someone was obviously lying to his followers to score cheap Dawah points, and you find him, why would you then believe the next thing he says? And so that's the real question here. Everyone who said perfect preservation right down to the letter was either lying or completely ignorant. Either lying or completely ignorant. It was one of the two. Either way, whether someone was lying or completely ignorant, shouldn't be listening to that person until, if he was lying, there would need to be some confession and repentance, all that sort of thing. If he was ignorant, he would have to show that, he's since done quite a bit of research and now he knows more, something like that. But it's just amazing in the world of Dawah. It's like the Dawah guys lie. The community, the Ummah believes whatever they said. And then, a few years later, the lie is exposed. And oops, we lied about that. We were completely wrong. That was all bogus. But then the lie will persist in that community for many years to come. and then the Dawah guys will tell a new lie. And then that lie will get exposed, but the community will go on by and large believing it. And then they'll the Dawah guys will give up that lie and then tell a new lie. And for some reason, you can build a career out of, not just out of lying, but out of lying and getting caught and then coming up with a new lie, because no one will ever hold you accountable for your lies in that community.
Right.
It's an embarrassment. Oh, you're exposing his lies. You're causing division, brother. Stop. It's weird.
It's tough. All right. So we already have some people back here, guys, to bring up. We have a new guest who popped up yesterday. He actually had some homework to do. But we'll see if he did anything. Now, listen, guys. As I said, this is only for the Christians, not the Christians, the Muslims to come up. Now, you guys coming up in the back chat, you guys clicking the link, it prevents the other Muslims that would be able to come, because I can only have 10 of us in, like, all together here. So that's why I'm asking Christians, do not click the link, because you're taking up space that could be used for a Muslim. All right. So please do not click the link, brothers. I love you and everything like that. You guys can join me on the next stream where we tackle these disbelievers. But, I need the room for the Muslims. All right. All right. So now let's go ahead and bring up.
By the way, look, just a little side note. I mean, there are all kinds of people who will be approaching us in an angry fashion right now, but I mean, think about it, right? So I don't know who's coming. They may be the nicest people in the world. I know lots of people get enraged when we expose a lie that they were told. And notice how generous we're being. Zakir Naik told a bunch of lies based on another guy who lied, based on another guy who lied, and they all just spread the lie. Yeah. Then the lie gets exposed, not just by us. We've been telling them for years that it's a lie. Then their guys finally admit, yeah, it was all a lie. It's been debunked. It was all a lie. And then we say, yeah, he's right. Good. We're glad you're finally admitting it. And guys get mad at us. Like, what did we do? We're the ones who told you the truth when they were lying. Why are you mad at us? How are you not mad at them? How are you not mad at yourselves for just buying anything that comes along and just gullibly believing anything that comes along? And notice, even after all that, even after people get mad at us, then what do? We say, hey, if you're Dawah guy, if Ali Dawah and Hamza Sortis, if these guys are wrong and it hasn't been debunked, we're going to give you our platforms to come show us that they're wrong and that science has indeed confirmed the correct. Like, how generous could we possibly be? We don't know what these guys are going to bring up. We're letting them do Dawah live on Christian channels.
That's right.
And people are mad at us for being mean. Like I don't know how we could be any more generous. I don't know, man. It's so
hold on. Let's get what he just said. Weird. He literally just said, we after such a blow to Islamic Dawah, we are giving the platform to Muslims to fix this big mistake that Ali Dawah supposedly, like, you guys have the platform. Thousands of people are going to see this. So you guys can correct it. You have the platform. Here you are. So really, are we the Islamophobes or I don't think we are. I don't think we're the haters. We can't be. You know, we're trying to help y'all out, man.
Yeah, let me guess. Everything is eventually going to get down to there's a scientific miracle here, but it only works in Arabic. Take our word for it. It always comes down to that.
Don't forget the top tier. I'll trust me, bro. All right, so we have our first guest up here, and welcome to the stage, Salam Al-Masih, my friend.
Hello. How you guys doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. So you have like just numbers. Oh, you accidentally clicked the thing. So you got numbers. What can we call you?
I guess just cool guy or something.
Cool guy?
Yeah, it's for something random. I just thought of it.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna prove a specific
Very cool
scientific miracle.
All right. Go ahead. Give us your best shot, brother.
So basically, I forgot the specific number, but there's a miracle in the Quran in Surah Yasin that mentions the orbit of the celestial bodies, and in the specific verse, that it mentions it, the letters itself, like let's say for example, the first letter is also the last letter, and the middle letter. Let me just link it. Give me 1 second, bro.
No problem.
Yeah, I linked it. It's hard to explain, bro.
This is an Arabic miracle?
Yeah, but like it's specifically explained, so yeah.
Okay. An Arabic miracle. I love it.
Yeah, man.
Hey guys in the chat, come on, support this guy, man. He's up here. Muslims that's in the chat, go ahead and give a like on this video for a cool guy, man. He's gonna shut this down easily. First time comer, shutting it down. Ain't that right, cool guy? You gonna cook today?
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So you got the first letter that's like the middle letter and the last letter, you know.
Yeah, and it also mentions orbits too, so yeah.
And orbits of the celestial.
Yeah, you guys can debunk it if you want to, but yeah.
Why would we want to do that?
I mean, if you guys don't find it true,
I'd say
I mean,
put a link
it seems
to a
pretty
video
true to
in
me.
the private chat.
Oh, we're gonna watch a video.
And
Yeah.
just the title says linguistic, and we can. It's only a minute and a half, so we could just watch it. It's called Linguistic Miracle of the Quran, stunning example of palindrome. And so a palindrome is a word or set of words that reads the same forward and backwards. I'm not exactly sure why that would be a miracle. A human being can easily come up
because
with
it was
Google.
Yeah, a man, a plan, a canal, Panama. Read it backwards. It says a man, a plan, a canal, Panama.
Miracle.
There's one guy who wrote like a 90,000 word palindrome as a book. It didn't make much sense, but he wrote like a 90,000 word palindrome. So not a bunch of palindromes. I mean, the entire book says the same thing either way you read it. Powerful stuff.
That's good stuff. Wow. So what you think about that, cool guy?
Yeah, let's watch the video, I guess. It's like a short.
Yeah, it's a minute and a half. We could entertain it, I suppose. Up to
okay. Anybody wants to share their screen, I'll put it up.
Yeah, I can do it. I already pulled it up, so
beautiful. So this is gonna debunk it all right here. All right here. Don't worry, Saleh, you're next, bro. You're next. Have faith in your Muslim brother here.
Oh, but by the way, so this is not a scientific miracle. This is a linguistic miracle.
Well, yeah, but it's also scientific in a way because it mentions orbits in a time when it wasn't like that popular, I guess.
No, everyone thought there were orbits back then. They thought all the heavenly bodies orbited the Earth.
Well, it mentions the Earth itself. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but
yeah, let's go. Yeah, we'll watch this. We'll watch it and look it up. We'll watch it and look it up.
Look at this ayah. لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وَكُلٌّ فِي فَلَكٍ يَسْبَحُونَ. Allah Azza wa Jal speaks of all heavenly bodies. Each of them in their own assigned space, they are floating, swimming, rotating. What's he speaking about? Bodies in space, planets, stars, right? Galaxies. He's speaking about all of them doing what? Rotating. Spell out the first words, kullun fi falak. What's the first letter in kullun fi falak? What's the last letter? What's the first letter? What's the second last and second? What's the third last and third? You notice something? What are they rotating around? What letter are they rotating around? The word he used for rotating, yasbahun, yeah. SubhanAllah.
Ooh, subhanallah.
How do human beings come up with that?
Right.
Allah Azza wa Jal speaks, and this is not written form. This is not written word. This is spoken word. Allah Azza wa Jal gave this Quran to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam so he would recite it unto the people. So he would recite it as a word. We are baffled even the way it's spelled, even the way it's written. But it was baffling, mind-boggling, stunning, really stunning in its perfected form.
Okay. And so there is our article, apparently.
That was great.
I'm pretty sure, I don't know precisely how many Arabic words could be used as a synonym here, but I'm guessing it's probably like 2 or 3. And one of them is a palindrome, and that somehow makes it very special, I guess.
You're not convinced?
No, as far as the actual verse goes, what did it say that the bodies of water were doing? Or I mean, the body, I may have accidentally given away what the planetary bodies, things that are in space, are doing. They are swimming. Do you know why an author of the 7th century might have described the planetary bodies as swimming?
That's to you, cool guy.
That's you, cool guy.
Because, well, it could also be like a metaphor, I guess.
Well, it could be. But do you know why that? Oh, I'll take that as a no. Like, you don't know why. So it was a common belief.
I know what you're gonna say though. You're gonna say like something about Sumerian myths or something, but I don't think it's that.
No, I wasn't going to say that at all. I was just going to say it was a common belief at the time that outer space was filled with water.
Yeah, and that's also a Sumerian myth, right?
Well,
Like something about
common, that. Right? I'm not saying that it's borrowed from that. It's a common belief of many peoples. So the Samaritans may have believed that. I don't know their beliefs off the top of my head, but it was a very common belief. So when the author says that they're swimming through space, he means that they're like sea creatures going through water. And indeed, one of the myths surrounding the Quran, now this is not in the Quran, sort of, but one of the myths is that the earth is carried on the back of a whale. And thus the whale is swimming around carrying the earth. And I said it's not in the Quran, but it kind of is, because they came up with, you know how so 3 little letters at the start of every, not every, but many of the surahs, and no one knows what they mean. Well, supposedly the letter Nun is the name of the whale that is carrying the earth.
Yeah, you guys mind if I switch topics? Because I don't think this is actually a good one, but okay.
That's okay. Yeah, you could bring whatever you feel is best and is clear, that proves that the Quran is scientifically miraculous. You could bring whatever you need.
Yeah. Okay. So is it okay instead of this, like can I use like a verse from the Bible instead? Or is that fine or not? Like it's not like besides science, like the Trinity or something.
No, because this particular subject today, my friend, is proving that Ali Dawah was wrong when he said that the scientific miracles of the Quran have been debunked. Do you agree with him that they've been debunked?
Well, yeah, most of them, I guess, because some of them are exaggerated, but there's still some stuff that wouldn't be known, I guess.
So, do you think that? Let me ask you this, just to be fair, to maybe see where your position is. Do you think that it's good to, if you're giving dawah and sharing Islam, to use as a method saying that the Quran is a scientifically accurate, miraculous book?
I mean, it's a book of science, not a book of science, so it's like not specifically.
That's a bar right there. So you would say that that's not true, not necessarily a good method to use, or an honest one?
I mean, no, I guess.
Appreciate that.
But, yeah, but we're not. And by the way, we agree with you, and what you just said is very similar to what people like Hamza Tzortzis are saying. That, I mean, he says that it's a book of science, not a book of science. And so notice we agree. We're not saying, shame on Hamza Tzortzis and shame on Ali Dawah for coming out and saying these things. We're actually agreeing with them, and we actually respect them more when they're saying, okay, this argument that we used to believe in because it was spread by various people, we've actually taken a closer look at it. We don't think it's a good argument. We need to stop using it. We totally respect that position. So this isn't a in your face. It's more it's more of an in your face to people who were lying about it. Like, guys, now you've been exposed. Now take your medicine, confess, admit that you were making things up, things like that. But as far as people who aren't using this argument, we have no problem. We have no problem with that. We agree. We agree that there were some problems, and this is something that everyone goes through. Everyone believes an argument at some point, and then later on you think it's a bad argument. So there's no shame in this, except for the people who were lying about it and the people who didn't bother to check it out while it was being exposed. But yeah. So that's the general problem here. So notice, I mean, this is a situation where we believe Ali Dawah was right. That is weird to say, but it's a weird situation where we actually agree with Ali Dawah. But there are Muslims who are saying, no, he's wrong. It hasn't been debunked, and trying to defend it. So yeah, that's the purpose of this. We're just trying to give anyone an opportunity who disagrees with Ali Dawah to show something that we're missing here.
I think here's something that's worth mentioning too. Here we have Al Masihi, who is a fellow brother of ours, Arabic speaking. He's ex-Muslim as well, and he says, Yas Bahuna means floating. Video didn't even include that word that actually says floating. So the word that actually says floating wasn't even included in the video, according to our brother here. So that's interesting.
I'm looking. So this is referring to Surah 36, verse 40. By the way, this is one of the, this is one of the passages we go to show that there are actually problems here, because, the verse says, it is not for the sun to overtake the moon, nor does the night outstrip the day. They float each in an orbit. But in context, it's the moon, the sun and the moon are chasing each other in their orbits, but one can't catch the other. And so that's not what's actually happening. The sun and moon are not chasing each other around, but not able to catch up to each other. So this is a passage we bring up. It's not one of the main ones, but it is one. But yeah, I'm looking at the translations. They all say either float or swims. So Pickthall, they float in an orbit. Yusuf Ali, each just swims along in its own orbit. Hilali Khan, they all float each in an orbit. Shakir, and all float on in a sphere. All of them, Sher Ali, all of them float smoothly in an orbit. Khalifa floating in its own orbit, swimming in a sky. Arbery floats in its sky. Palmer, and so yeah, everyone's going with floats or swims. Nice.
Now we have something here, interestingly enough, and Thaddeus, do you mind getting one of our clips that have Ali Dawah's video? Because we have a Muslim here who says Ali Dawah never said that.
Oh, we can watch the entire, Ali Dawah video.
No problem. I got that clip ready to go. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah. So he thinks that we're up here lying up here. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows, those who have been under a rock, not been online and been away from their phones for the past month or so, that we're not lying here. We're not lying. So we're going to play the clip for you and show you exactly what the man himself, peace be upon him, Ali Dawah, says. All right. So we're going to get that for you really quick.
And by the way, Avery, there's a reason that Muslims are saying, no, Ali Dawah never said that, because there are Muslims who are circulating the claim that when we say, hey, Ali Dawah said it's been debunked, even though he said it over and over and over again, they're circulating things saying, no, Ali Dawah never said it's been debunked. It's like, how many times does he have to say something before?
Right.
We have to actually message him like, hey, Ali Dawah, you said it like 10 times in a row. Could you say it another 1,000? Because
yeah, just a few more thousands, man, because they think that you didn't say it. We think they're lying. All right, let's go, Thaddeus. Thanks.
All right, we got a minute clip here.
But a lot of people were very insecure because of the scientific, discoveries or whatever it may be, and we was trying to fit the scientific narrative into the Quran, which was a big mistake, because it's as good as we were making science the guideline for the Quran to be accepted. This is nonsense. Yeah, we take the Quran, not science. To hell with science. Science changes tomorrow, today. They talk about the Big Bang. Now there's new studies or whatever, the new findings that there was no Big Bang. So my point is what? You cannot come and say this verse here is a scientific miracle, is a scientific fact. Why? Not because the Quran is wrong, because science changes, number one. Number two, who told you that verse in the Quran is talking about what you're ascribing to it? Simple as that. So that's why I repeat it one more time for my fans, those Islamophobes. The scientific arguments, scientific miracles in the Quran is debunked. And we as Muslims, guess what? It doesn't bother us to the least.
Well, it might not bother him, but apparently it bothers some other people.
So he clarified it there. Yeah, he said it there towards the end, but earlier in the fuller video, he said repeatedly, it's been debunked, it's been debunked, it's been debunked. And guys, it's important to understand why me and AP went through Hamza Tzortzis's video where he actually breaks it down and expands. I mean, he goes into a little more detail than Ali Dawah. Well, he goes into a lot more detail than Ali Dawah did, but he basically lays out what would be required to even claim something as a scientific miracle or as miraculous scientific knowledge that was unknown by Muhammad at the time. You'd have to say that the science is settled, that science actually knows something. And this is one of their objections, but I think it's one of the weakest. They say, science changes all the time, to hell with science, blah, 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 blah. Science is always changing. No, science does tend to hone down on certain things, and you still got to figure out the details and so on. But so in other words, we know quite a bit about the universe. We know quite a lot about biology and so on. It's not like we're going to find out tomorrow, that semen isn't involved in reproduction or something like that. We have a pretty good idea about things like that. But what they're pointing out is that you'd have to know that science is accurate on something before you start clinging to it. As Hamza Tzortzis started pointing out, what if you were in the 19th century trying to point out scientific miracles in the Quran? Well, a lot of scientific theories in the 19th century have now been discredited, and other theories are in their place. So what happens if you actually were clinging to those theories and saying you found those in the Quran? The Quran would turn out to be wrong. So that's one point. Two, they're saying you have to know what the Quran is actually saying, because a lot of these arguments go, oh, here are 37 different things this word can mean. Let's go with the one that conforms to a scientific theory. Let's ignore the verses that come before it, ignore the verses that come after it, and say, hey, there's no way Muhammad could have known this thing. How do you know that interpretation is right? Unless you have Muhammad or his companions or something explaining what it means, you don't get to just say, this is what it means. And Ali Dawah gave an example, like he was saying there are 7 ozone layers. But notice he was interpreting the Quran's claim that there are 7 heavens as 7 ozone layers. There aren't. But the point he was making is valid as of him criticizing that perspective. The Quran says 7 heavens. Why are you saying that means 7 ozone layers or something like that? Where's the Quran saying that? No, you're putting that into the Quran in order to try pretty miserably to bring that in line with modern science. So you've got that. And then on top of it all, if Muhammad happened to get something right, you'd also have to show that it wasn't known or said before Muhammad. So it wasn't known by the Greeks or the Romans or anyone else that the Muslims might have come into contact with. And what they're saying, what Hamza Tzortzis is saying, he's not saying the Quran is wrong on science or can't be trusted. It's just saying, in order to even defend the idea of a scientific miracle, you'd have to show, one, that it's actually some sort of settled science. Two, that is the meaning that the Quran, it doesn't mean anything else. It means that. And three, you'd have to say Muhammad couldn't have known this beforehand because people didn't know it before his time. And they're saying, guys, we just don't have anything that meets those 3 criteria. We don't. There's nothing that meets those criteria in the Quran. So you can still believe in the Quran for other reasons. They're just saying you can't defend an actual scientific miracle here. And
I love it.
And we can respect that.
Yeah, we can respect that. So DJ says, God bless the original Quran only Christians. Shout out DJ. And then we also got a super sticker from De Leon. Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate the support. All right. So we're going to bring someone else up who can probably help out Cool Guy a little bit and bring some more spice to the panel. Now, Saleh, when you come up, bring that good fiery energy. And we want your best argument for a scientific miracle in the Quran. Come on up, man. The show's yours.
Yo, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you just fine.
All right, bro. 5'7", step aside, bro. I'll handle them, bro. Don't worry. I'll handle all 3 of them. Just step aside, bro. I got this.
That's where the chest. That's where the chest thumping comes in.
So first of all, listen. Just calm down. So first of all, I want to talk about Hosea 11. 9, okay?
Hosea? No.
Hosea 11. 9.
No.
Do you know
what
the play fallacy is?
Dude, you're running like your father when you bash him with the hammer, dude. You're running fast. Come on.
Hey, they started. Did we start with insults?
No,
that's not an insult, dude. That's a fact.
No. You said he was running and so on. That's false. That's just insults. You brought it up. So when I call your prophet a child molesting, murdering rapist, you're not going to complain because you started it, right?
Let's just talk about.
No. Oh, you cut him off. I was ready for an insult battle. See, guys, I don't start it. I just roll with it.
Yep. But you know, he was a kid that was here yesterday, and he's supposed to bring me the verses that says that Abraham is the word of Allah, and so he's had about. Don't. What? Can I finish without you cutting me off laughing? All right.
I'm sorry. Gotta be serious.
Thank you. So yes.
Wait. Is this going to be in a footnote? It says right here. Here it is right here in this footnote.
He's supposed to bring me the verse, and it's been 24 hours. That's the last. I did not allow him to say another word on my stream until he brought me the verse. So that's what he's supposed to bring me, not anything else. So
and then notice, we give him the opportunity. We give him the opportunity to defend the scientific miracles. He instantly changes the subject multiple times. Instantly changes the subject. Now, guys, isn't this it? But people who are watching, do not miss stuff like this. When someone says, I have this airtight knockdown argument for my position, and you go, oh, okay, let's take a close look at it. And you go, no, let's talk about this other thing. It's like, wait a minute. You really don't believe you have any sort of good argument for that position, do you? And now if he agrees with Ali Dawah that the argument has been debunked, that's fine. Yeah, but I don't know why you'd want to come in here and distract from people who might actually want to defend the scientific miracles of the Quran.
So how about this? Saleh, I'm willing to give you one last chance. This is what I'm willing to do. I'm giving you one last chance. There's people that's trying to come up. They might be Muslims. So Arabian Crusader, you're a Christian in the backstage that's holding up a spot for that could be a Muslim. I don't know if the guy's a Muslim or not. So please, I love you, brother. But watch the stream from YouTube, and so I can save room for the people here. All right. So just watch the stream from YouTube. Okay. All right. And then Jay Blake, can you tell me if you're a Muslim or not, please? Let me know, because if you are not, then please do not sit in the back. Okay, you are a Muslim. Beautiful. All right, cool. All right, so so this is what we're gonna do. Saleh, I'm willing to give you one last chance. This is what you have to do. One, you have to admit that you don't have the verse that says that Abraham is the word of Allah. That's one. And then two, actually forget the insults. Stay away from all that stuff. We're not on that right now. We are on.
Oh no, your show.
I mean, okay. If we just letting the blows blow, we can let the blows blow. All right, but bring an argument for either you agree with Ali Dawah that scientific miracles in the Quran have been debunked, and so we won't press you on that. Or if you disagree with him, tell us why. Okay. So number one, admit that you do not have the verse that says Abraham is the word of Allah. And then two, tell us if you agree with Ali Dawah or not and why. Okay, so here you go. If you do not do that, you're out of here.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. So
Yeah.
number one.
So I did pull up what you were talking about yesterday about the Word of God, and I was not able to find that. It might still be there, but I couldn't find it.
Okay, so we couldn't find the verse about Abraham being the word of Allah. Thank you for admitting that and being
Yeah.
honest. Now, do you agree with Ali Dawah that the scientific miracles have been debunked in the Quran?
He said that?
Yeah.
No, I don't agree.
You
Of
want me to
course,
play
I don't agree
another
with that. Of course, I don't
Would
agree
you,
with that.
would you like to see the clip?
Yeah, well, let's see the clip.
All right, let's see the clip.
You want me to play the same one, or you want me to play a different one?
You can play this. You can play the same one.
Okay.
Play the same one. It's funny that you have different ones because he said it so many times. Yeah, let's go ahead and show this. Ali Dawah, man, Christian apologist. Oh, it's muted, Thaddeus.
My bad. I probably forgot to check the little box because you got to do it every time.
Remember, when Thaddeus is here, it's amateur hour.
Yep, rookie.
Yep, for sure.
Rookie. And he lost his movie
So when
voice.
I'm on my own stream,
Rookie sensation, Thaddeus.
Abdi said, "Why are we entertaining this clown, man?
Yep.
Yo,
So
Abdi
I
needs
have
to
the
quiet
clip right
down,
now.
bro.
He's a Muslim."
That's what I'm saying, but he needs to be quiet though.
Ooh.
I have it ready.
All right. Oh, my bad. That's me.
But a
Amateur
lot
hour.
of people were very insecure because of the scientific, discoveries or whatever it may be, and we was trying to fit the scientific narrative into the Quran, which was a big mistake because it's as if as good as we were making science the guideline for the Quran to be accepted. This is nonsense. Yeah, we take the Quran, not science. To hell with science. Science changes tomorrow, today. They talk about the Big Bang. Now there's new studies or whatever, the new findings that there was no Big Bang. So my point is what? You cannot come and say this verse here is a scientific miracle, is a scientific fact. Why? Not because the Quran is wrong, because science changes, number one. Number two, who told you that verse in the Quran is talking about what you're ascribing to it? Simple as that. So that's why I repeat it one more time for my fans, those Islamophobes. The scientific arguments, scientific miracles in the Quran is debunked. And guess what? It doesn't bother us to the least.
It doesn't bother us to the least.
And again, this is I mean, he had already said it in one video, and he said that he came one of the reasons he came to Islam was because of the scientific miracles, and then he realized in his words it was absolute nonsense, but he said he stayed on, continued to be a Muslim for other reasons. He said it in that video that the argument has been debunked, and then he got a bunch of requests from Muslims. Could you clarify what you mean? Because the Islamophobes think that you're saying the argument has been debunked, mainly because that's exactly what he said. So they asked him to clarify it, and then he posted another video where he said over and over again that the argument has been debunked. And again, this goes back. I mean, it was 10 years ago when Hamza Tzortzis published his paper explaining why Muslims need to stop using that argument and why it's been debunked and why they don't have anything in the Quran that actually meets those criteria to qualify as a scientific miracle. Ali Dawah just basically, he's saying that da'is across the board understand this. That's why they don't use the scientific miracles anymore. But he's basically the one who's now popularizing what Hamza said, and good on him for having the integrity to do that.
Yep, good stuff. All right, so Saleh, there you go. And Abdi, what do you guys think?
I would say, Abdi, you want to go first? Or you want me to go first, my son? All right, I guess I'll go first. So, watching that clip, two things are in mind. Number one, like if homosexuality is a good example, right? So why do we believe homosexuality is wrong? We could go into a bunch of secular arguments. You could say, oh, this diseases or this or this. But in reality, the number one thing is God said it. That's the number one thing. That's point blank period. That's the first thing you go to. You don't go through all these secular arguments. And I think that's what Ali Dawah was trying to say here. He's saying that not necessarily that all the arguments are wrong, but that God said it is enough. Like, you don't need to go into all these secular arguments of this is the embryo and this is that and that proves the Quran. When in reality, it's faith first. I think that's what his point is. So,
Well,
not what he's
that's
saying.
part of his point.
That's kind of off topic, though. But
Yeah. I mean, it's a small part of his point that we believe the Quran above science, but he's also saying that you're misreading the Quran when you import science into it.
Yeah, and to be fair to anyone who still thinks there are interesting scientific things or something in the Quran, Ali Dawah does find it. He says there are things that you could be amazed at, like the Quran saying that there's, things get darker the deeper you go in the ocean or something like that. So he says that there are amazing things like that, but he's saying as far as an argument, the argument doesn't work. And again, he kind of spells it out a little bit, saying, science can change. So why are you going to appeal to science when, 100 years from now, the scientific theory might be different? And two, unless you have Muhammad or someone else explaining what this Quran verse means, how are you saying things like the heavens refers to layers of the Earth's atmosphere or something like that? Where are you getting it from? It looks like you're putting it in there. So he is saying that he's saying two things. He's saying, one, yes, you can be amazed when the scientific, when the Quran gets something, says something interesting, but you can't use it as an argument because the arguments just aren't going to work. And so,
wait, but hold on. Let me see if you're consistent on that. So the Book of Revelation, right? A lot of Baptists make claims about like Israel is this is the temple where this will happen. This person is the Antichrist, supposed Antichrist. They make a lot of claims about what Revelation is saying and what is, right? Like prophecy, etc., right? So are you saying that all of that is in the same sense that it's just speculation in the way that the scientific miracles are just speculation?
You would have to actually make a good solid case. And until you, if I'm talking to a Christian, until the Christian makes a case for why this clearly means something, I'm not going to agree with the argument. In other words, same principle, Bible or Quran. Show me that you are understanding that verse correctly and that this is the fulfillment of it, or I'm not going to believe the argument.
All right, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little too smooth, too easy. Where's the hate? Where's the
see? Avery always wants the drama, and when people just come along and have a calm conversation, he starts getting a little. We need to
spice.
He wants pit bulls fighting in here.
We need clashes, man. We need clashes. All right. So listen, I got a question. So somebody asks, how many scientifically false statements does the Quran need to make for you guys as Muslims to reject Islam?
Well, like Ali Dawah said, science is constantly changing, so it's not necessarily one thing that could be true and then it's not true. But if you could prove without a shadow of a doubt a scientific fact, then I think just one, right? I mean, one.
So if we can prove without a shadow of a doubt that one of the statements that the Quran makes is actually false, then that would be enough for you to leave Islam?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a fair.
I would ask for the same.
You would ask the same thing. All we need is one false thing from the Quran, and you guys would leave Islam. So one is the answer.
That's
one
not true.
false thing.
That's just not true.
Okay, so Abdi has a different take.
But this guy's a clown. This guy right here, he's a clown. He's not a Muslim.
Wait, ask you a question.
Bro, you're not a Muslim. Shut up. What do you know about Islam? Wait, let me teach you Islam. Let me teach you Islam.
Everyone's sectarian every other.
Listen, I'm Sheikh Uthman, you're the student. I'm Uthman, you're the student. Sit down.
David Wood has a history of being a deceptive liar. Look, Ali Dawah is not saying that the scientific miracles have been debunked. He's just saying that we should use it as a primary source of evidence. Okay.
You're repeating my argument. You're just repeating everything.
Wait. I'm just confused. How is it that David Wood is the one deceptive?
He has made so many videos.
We just played the man's clip that said it's been debunked.
Yeah. So notice the people who say I'm being deceptive are the people who just watched a clip, and I mean person, are the ones who just watched a clip of Ali Dawah, who said it multiple times, to be clear. And he said it over a course of 2 videos, and he said it a bunch of times in his second videos. Debunked, 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 debunked. And we say, hey, Ali Dawah says the argument's been debunked. They say, liar, liar. He's not saying that. And what's amazing is Ali Dawah is saying that based on Hamza Tzortzis laying out his case in an essay form and in video form, explaining why there's nothing in the Quran that would qualify as a scientific miracle, because one, you'd have to show the science is settled. That's exactly what he said.
No,
guys,
that's just not true. That's just not
and he didn't say debunked, right? He didn't say debunked, right?
Misinterpretation.
So Abdi,
debunked,
let me help you out here, Abdi.
Debunked,
are you trying to say
debunked, he knows that you Christians are going to clip that and be like, "Oh, guys, look,
so he's so Ali Dawah is intentionally helping
That's
Christians?
what he said. That's literally what he said. He said it was debunked, bro.
No, he did not. He doesn't mean 5D
chess,
it's
bro.
actually
I think
debunked.
was playing 5D chess right now.
No, he doesn't mean it's actually debunked. He knew that you
So,
Christians would
Abdi,
clip that.
Abdi, can I help you
He
out
said
here?
it like 20
Can I
times
help
in
you
the
out,
video,
Abdi?
bro.
No, he said it's debunked, but he said not in total right after. You guys are forgetting that.
I know you guys are clipping out the most important.
I literally just said what he actually means by not totally debunked, because he said absolute nonsense as well in his original clip. When he says not in total, he gives an example. He says there are things that we can be amazed at in the Quran, like, oh my goodness, darkness in the ocean. Like, how could someone have known that? So even if we grant that, he's still saying to use that as an argument. And if you go back to Hamza Tzortzis, in order to use that as an argument, you'd have to show that the science is settled. I don't think anyone's going to question the science on whether it actually gets darker as the deeper you go into the ocean. But 2, you'd have to say, is that what the Quran is claiming there? Because you can look at different translations, and some of them sound like it's just talking about darkness in a dark storm or something like that. Like you can't see in front of you in a dark storm on the water. But even if you grant that, then 3 would be, can you claim that no one knew that before? And that there's no way to know that? So he's saying it's something you can look at as a Muslim and say, wow, it's amazing that, the Quran says this. Can you use this as an argument for miraculous scientific knowledge? No, because you'd have to actually show, in this case, you'd have to show that couldn't be known. And anyone who's ever jumped in the water and swam down 10 feet would know that. So he's saying, you can be amazed.
No.
If you're forgetting my goodness, guys, if you're saying that Ali Dawah did not say the argument has been debunked when he said debunked, I don't know how I can take you seriously on anything after that.
You haven't
because
watched
if words don't work.
Ali Dawah video. You haven't watched a single Ali Dawah.
I have watched the whole video.
The guy is dramatic. He is dramatic in nature.
Bro, you're coping hard.
So when he says debunked, he doesn't necessarily mean debunked. He's just basically saying
everyone, when he says debunked, he doesn't mean debunked. He means the opposite.
Abdi,
you don't know Ali
Dawah. Come down for a minute. Can I ask you a question by what you think Ali Dawah actually means?
Bro, you're an Ali Dawah super fan. You're doing jumping jabs and gymnastics.
Bro, shut the hell up. You're a clown.
Bro, how many rockets are in Al-Fatiha? How many rockets are in Al-Fatiha, bro? Go ahead.
You are a clown.
How many rockets in Al-Fatiha? Go ahead.
You have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea what you're talking about.
My son, listen.
Don't ask me any questions. You are not a Muslim.
My son, just sit down. I'm the teacher.
You are not a Muslim. You are a clown.
No. You are an Ali Dawah fan. You're not a Muslim. If Ali Dawah became Christian, you become Christian, dude. You just follow Ali Dawah into the pumpkin patch holding your hand, dude.
You don't know Ali Dawah, bro. Okay.
You are an internet Muslim, bro. You've never been into a mosque.
Quiet, sit down. You know what you're talking about.
That's your entire thing, bro.
You don't know what you're talking about. Just sit down, okay? You're a kid. Be quiet.
You're copying what I'm saying, but that's great.
No, you're not. I'm not even copying anything of what you're saying. You don't know what you're talking about.
No, you don't know what you're talking about. He said debunked 5 million times, and you're like, oh, well, does
you
that
are
really
a
mean
troll.
debunked? Does that really mean debunked?
All right. I love it.
Why are you guys fighting each other?
Dude, you're worse than him, dude.
I don't know why you even invited this troll. He is a troll. We all know he's a troll.
Bro, he said debunked 5 million times, and you sat here in the call for 5 minutes like, is that really debunked?
You haven't watched a single Ali Dawah video. You haven't watched a single Ali Dawah video.
How many Ali Dawah videos do I need to read or watch? How many?
Ali Dawah
What is
is
the
known
quota?
to be
What is my Ali Dawah quota, bro?
Ali Dawah is known to be dramatic. He doesn't mean what he says. Okay, you don't know what you're
So why
talking
are we
about.
watching the clip?
No, he does
Why are
mean
we
what he
watching the
says.
clip then if we
He
can't
said
believe it?
debunked, dude.
No,
He's saying he did not say
what he's
debunked.
saying, what he's saying is the Quran is the standard, not science. Science is not the standard. The Quran is the standard. So we have
Yeah,
to.
that's what he means
If
actually. But
science does not,
he did
if
say that
science
it
does
was
not
there.
agree with the Quran, then F science. Okay, that's what he's saying.
But he's saying more than that. He's saying you can't even use these as arguments to defend Islam.
Yeah, because the Quran is the standard. That's why.
No. But it's farther than that. You're trying to frame it as like, oh, the Quran is the ultimate standard. I agree, but he's taking a step further. He's saying you
So
can't
you
even
don't
use
agree.
that.
You're not even a Muslim. You're a troll. You don't agree anything. Be quiet.
Is that all you have? You're not willing to engage?
No, I'm not willing to.
You're not engaging in good faith.
You are a troll. You literally came in here insulting David Wood. You are a troll.
You just spent 5 minutes.
You are a
decrying
troll.
Ali
Be
Dawah,
quiet.
bro. All you have is Ali Dawah. What do you have?
No, be quiet. Seriously, be quiet. You're a
No,
troll.
you be quiet. No, you be
You
quiet.
are an
Can you
embarrassment.
recite
All
the
right.
Quran? Can you
All
recite
right,
the
all right,
Quran?
all right, fellas. All right. That's round one is over. All right. So I had to let y'all get it off your chest a little bit. So let's get back to the nitty gritty now. So Abdi, tell us what again is your understanding from what Ali Dawah is saying?
He's just saying that the Quran is the standard, right? Science is not the standard. So we shouldn't be bending over to science and affirming the Quran through science. We should be affirming science through the Quran.
Okay. And so you believe that Ali Dawah believes that there are scientific factual statements found in the Quran, but that we just shouldn't judge or make or base the Islam off of these facts that we find in the Quran and these statements?
Absolutely, there are scientific facts in the Quran.
Okay.
But science has yet not discovered those facts.
Okay.
And so if we try to compare modern science with the Quran, we're going to find complications.
Got you. Science of the gaps argument. I like that. So do you have do you have an example that you like to lean to that is a scientific fact that we could find in the Quran?
Most scientific miracles in the Quran can't be proven with modern science because modern science is not there yet. Maybe in some time in the future we'll be able to. Absolutely.
How do you know that it's a scientific miracle if you can't prove it scientifically?
Because it's stated in the Quran. It talks about certain phenomena.
Can you give us a phenomenon that you think science will eventually discover?
In other words, we're thinking, we're trying to think of examples of something the Quran is saying that would seem to be at odds with science, but that like could possibly at some point, centuries from now be confirmed. Like, the sun sets in a muddy pool. Like maybe scientists will find that out or something.
Yeah, absolutely. That mountains are that stabilize the earth.
Okay. Mountains stabilize the earth. They keep the earth from shaking, and this is something we will find out later on.
Absolutely.
Any comments?
Well, I mean, that's interesting because Muslims sometimes claim that that's a current scientific miracle, that science has already supposedly discovered that. I'm glad that you're not trying to distort the science, unlike some Muslims, so I'll give you that. I will agree that is a phenomenon that could potentially be discovered. So you did meet your own criteria, but obviously you can't use it as evidence, right? Because you're just assuming that science will eventually come to it. So do you have anything that we can use as evidence today?
Well, I wanted to ask him before we get there. Yeah, just really quick, just on this one. Like we know that because the verse says that the mountains are placed on the earth to keep it from shaking, right? That's what the verse says.
Keep in mind this also occurred in the original 6 days of creation. So you had mountains on earth to stabilize it within the original 6 days of creation, and so the earth was there within 6 days, and so this is something that will have to eventually be confirmed by science.
Yeah, David. Can I ask you a question?
Is it about this topic?
Well, kinda. It's about Genesis, like the creation.
It's not about this topic.
Yeah, we're not
No,
on
it's,
there.
it still has to do with it.
Our ideas about scripture and revelation and signs and so on are going to be different. And so if someone is saying, hey, look at this miraculous scientific knowledge in Genesis, totally right there would be, okay, let's see how this lines up with modern science and so on. But if someone is using a different argument, or we're evaluating a different argument, then that argument, I mean, guys, think about this. We're saying, hey, is Ali Dawah right or wrong? If he's right, then good. Everyone should acknowledge it. We can all move on. If he's wrong, then we want to give people an opportunity to show that he's wrong.
Yeah.
And so far we've seen a palindrome, and we've seen mountains used in verses, which definitely you could say, hey, maybe in the future they'll find something that actually lines up. But what we know now does not line up. The Quran does not line up. And so what you'd say is it's a potential scientific miracle if some future scientific discovery confirms it. But as of right now, does not look like it lines up with the science of our time.
But you don't
we're still just looking. We're still just looking for the miracle.
You're not
And
about
real quickly, I just want to point out how unlikely that would be to be discovered, because we do know what forms mountains, and it's tectonic activity, which is exactly the same thing that causes earthquakes.
Exactly.
So for a mountain to be formed in the kind of reaction that causes earthquakes and then also prevent earthquakes seems highly improbable to me.
It would be a contradiction too.
Yeah, but David Wood, do you hold the Bible to the same standard?
The Bible, the Bible is irrelevant. Two, the Bible is a different kind of. There's a different concept of revelation. The Quran is supposedly dictated to Muhammad, and then you guys are. I mean, Muslims, at least for the past few decades, have used scientific miracles as the proof. That's not. I mean, let me put it this way. When Luke sat down to write the Gospel of Luke, he was not dictated to. We believe he was guided by the Holy Spirit as far as the information that is in his head that God wanted him to preserve. But it wouldn't make any sense for a Christian to say, Luke is going to sit down and write E equals MC squared. How would Luke know that E equals MC squared? How would he even know that? So you may find Christians who do use this, and they could go ahead and defend it. I'm not defending scientific miracles, and we have a different concept of revelations. I'm looking at Surah 16.
Can I say something?
Just one second, because I just wanted to address the mountains. I'm looking at the different the translations. Pickthall 16, Surah 16, verse 15. And he has cast into the earth firm hills that quake not with you. M.H. Shakir, and he has cast great mountains into the earth. And Arbery, he has cast on the earth firm mountains, lest it shake. Palmer, and he has cast firm mountains on the earth, lest it move with you. Rodwell, and he has thrown firm mountains on the earth. So here, it doesn't sound like mountains are these things that are being formed from, plate tectonics and so on. It looks like Allah is saying, "Hey, we need to throw these mountains down there as pegs to sort of stabilize the earth from shaking." But so anyway, the point is, yes, maybe you could find out at some point in the future that mountains are, were thrown down, but doesn't look like it's so. Anyway, the point was we agree that as of right now, this wouldn't be a scientific miracle, but potentially if some future discovery could confirm this, then it would be. But yeah, so
I think
agreeing with
I think the problem is hi. By the way, hi everyone.
Hi.
I think the problem is everyone speaking over each other, and I mean Ali Dawah and all of the Christians who have taken his words and have tried to say, "Oh, look, Islam has been debunked." Yes, from the clip, I will admit. Pardon me?
Say Islam has been debunked.
Well, that's a direction that you want to pull this whole conversation.
Well, no, that's not correct at all. None of us would say that. None of us would say that. So before you straw man us, let me explain our actual position.
Because
Our
I'm trying to show that you guys are straw manning. Allow me to finish, Thaddeus, please.
Okay.
I'm
you
just
go
trying
ahead
to
straw man us. Go ahead. It's fine.
You're very rude. I am trying to say
I'm very rude for trying to help
you're
you
very
out.
rude.
Okay.
I'm just trying to show that. How old are you?
Yeah, that is. Let the man finish, man. Come on, go ahead.
I'm just trying to say.
I know. Let him talk.
Can you put yourself on mute? I'm just trying to say that what Ali Dawah said is correct. That whatever scientific miracles that Muslims have tried to derive from the Quran, somehow, some way, have been debunked.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a point that Muslims have to admit. That if Ali Dawah was saying that, we have to admit that. So, but what Ali Dawah is saying is that he is putting the Quran above everything, just as Christians put the Bible above everything. So, for example, if something is proved to be incorrectly interpreted by past Christians, the Christians of the future will say, well, those Christians did not understand this element within biblical understanding, so therefore this new interpretation is actually making the matter more clear. I think this is the direction that Ali Dawah was trying to prove his point by saying,
and we agree.
Hold on, please. And what I'm trying to say is that now, could there be elements in the Quran that could potentially be true in the future? For example, I know last time when you guys had this, you guys spoke about embryology. And I think David tried to show that the Quran is showing that the bones are created, then the flesh comes. The word thumma is used there. But the word thumma in Arabic also means simultaneous. It doesn't necessarily mean then. So what I'm trying to say is that I think last time you guys had this conversation, one of the brothers was trying to say that the Quran is not trying to say that, that the baby is formed and this and then after certain period, this after certain period, this after certain period, this. Just gives you a general understanding of how a human being is created in the womb. Because for the general public, 99.99% of the general public don't think about these things. But when these things are brought in a biblical, in a holy scripture, it's canonized. People go back to these things. For example, Jesus.
Okay, so before you try to get to the Bible, I let you speak for a long time.
I'm speaking to you. 1 second. What I want to say is, for example, in the Bible, did Jesus go to was he ascended? We see in Acts where Paul testifies to this.
Okay, so this has nothing to do with the subject.
Stop rambling, bro. Stop rambling.
I'm not trying to.
Yeah, my friend. I don't know what Jesus's ascension has to do with.
No, I just want to say that Paul was not a witness, but he got a revelation.
He didn't write the book of Acts either. So
fine. Well, what I'm trying to say is that the ascension of Jesus is primarily witnessed by Paul.
No, that's not remotely accurate. That is not remotely accurate or remotely on subject. So how about you let me speak now, and I tell you what I could have told you before you even insisted on going on your rant. Everything you said, we agree with. Ali Dawah is saying that this is a bad argument that shouldn't be used. He's not saying this proves Islam false. None of us are saying that it proves Islam false.
So what's the point? So what's the problem then? So what are you guys? Why are you even having this chat room?
Because
we're trying to tell
Muslims disagree with Ali Dawah.
Exactly. We have Muslims. Look, bro. You have Muslims who literally say that Ali Dawah is misguided on this subject, that he's wrong about this, and we literally had Muslims come up.
They misunderstood him.
Let me finish. We had Muslims come up even last week, because you said that you saw a bit of last week.
The whole thing.
They were okay, good. So they were literally proving the other case, that the Quran does have scientific miracles within it. So you have Muslims that disagree, and this is the platform for for those Muslims to come and show us if Ali Dawah is right or wrong.
So your name is Sheikh Logic? Sorry,
That's
what was
correct.
your name, sir? Sheikh, what I'm trying to say is that the gentleman last week said that the embryological process that's mentioned in the Quran is not a scientific exposition. It's never meant for that. However, what the process is mentioned in the Quran is correct, and the word thumma means simultaneous also. It does not necessarily mean one after the other.
Again,
let me go ahead. Let me go.
Yes, I would like to speak to David.
Okay, yeah. Let me address that real quick. If you're just going to say thumma means simultaneous, then you don't have.
It can also mean.
Okay, so it says in that verse. So in Surah 22, verse 5, it says thumma thumma thumma. So it's giving you a sequence, and all of a sudden you're going to say, oh, here, even though it means then, because you need that for the sequence of embryological development. All of a sudden, here thumma means something different, even though it was then, simultaneous. This is what we're talking. This is what we're talking. Notice. Even if we agreed with you, that is a perfect example of what we're saying. So even if we toss out the hadith where Muhammad actually gives a time frame and it's 40 days is this, 40 days of that, and so on. Even if we ignore that, we just go with the Quran. It's thumma, and you need thumma to mean then in order to have the sequence for part of it. And then you're going to say thumma means simultaneous when
this is what Ali Dawah was trying to say. This is what Ali Dawah was trying to say in that video that you just posted.
We agree with him. I agree with him. I think if I were naturally reading this, I would interpret it as sequence. But if you're saying, hey, thumma can mean something else here, I would say, okay, but
I'm just using my Arabic knowledge to say that thumma can also mean simultaneously. And this is the point you made last week, David. You said that the bones and the meat and the flesh are created at the same time.
Yeah. Those are forming at the same time. So notice what we're saying, because you and I I think we're on the same page here.
I think we are. That's why I want to talk to you.
Yeah. So if my point is, I mean, you can obviously interpret the Quran, and there are obviously words in the Quran that can be interpreted in different ways, and some passages you can interpret in a scientifically correct way. What we're saying is, and we agree with Ali Dawah on this, we agree with Hamza Tzortzis on this, it sounds like we agree with you on this. To say that this is miraculous scientific knowledge, you'd have to say that this is, so in other words, you'd have to say thumma here definitely means this, and it's not. You can say, well, I don't think it's wrong, or I don't think you guys can prove that it's wrong, but to say that it's miraculous knowledge, we'd have to be able to show what Allah definitely meaned there.
David,
that's all we're saying.
I think the biggest mistake that Muslims made was to think, oh, there are scientific miracles in the Quran, and then some, illogical Muslims took this idea and ran with it without even themselves having any comprehension of science or even understanding the sciences of the Quran itself, and then ran with it. And then for the lay people, they basically laid it down, and that's how things were basically spread. So I think whoever came up with this idea, you once spoke with Sheikh Uthman, and on his table you found this book, and then you showed him this book, and then you said, look, there are errors in this book. And something Uthman said to you, which I really respect him for. He said, I never read this book. I brought this book, it was published by someone, and I've just put it there, but I didn't publish it. And I think that was the it shows the scholarship of Sheikh Uthman, that he doesn't just preach anything that Muslims say randomly, because he said to you, I didn't read this book because you were trying to show that this book had errors in it. And I think even Christian Prince has showed many errors from that booklet of scientific miracles. And I think at the end of the day, you guys are correct for basically jumping on this. And I think that going back, I think the biggest mistake Muslims have made is to basically canonize something without even understanding how science evolves, how the scientific method evolves, how scientific apparatuses evolve. Pardon me?
Yeah, and let me go ahead, because I think. By the way, what's your name? So how do I address you? I can address you by the number, or.
My name is Ahmed.
Okay, Ahmed. And what I agree with you that people are sort of they were fed this, and then the population picks it up and they think there are these scientific miracles. And I actually, it feels weird to be saying we're agreeing with Ali Dawah and Hamza Tzortzis after doing nothing but arguing with the Dawah guys for a long period. But I actually think they're doing further damage, because if you look at the point of some of these verses, a lot of the points of the verses are something that theists in general, or Christians or Jews, could actually agree with if they weren't trying to, make a scientific miracle about it. So
I agree with you.
Surah 22, verse 5, it's saying, hey, guys, if you doubt the resurrection, you don't think that God could do a resurrection, think about how you're formed in the womb, right? It's saying, hey, look, I mean, you don't know how amazing this is, that God does this in the womb. Why would you doubt the resurrection when think about all the amazing stuff that's happening, in your body when you have a baby? So God can make you so that you produce babies, but you don't believe that God could raise someone from the dead. That's the point. I could look at that point and say, I could look at that and say that is a good point. But instead, it's like they're sidetracking people from the legitimate point by making everyone argue about whether there's a scientific miracle there.
Sectarianism has destroyed Islam. Sectarianism has basically ripped Christianity apart. Same thing with Judaism. And these are all religions that have had great prophets sent to them, and they have seen, they have been privy to certain knowledge that was not generally known to people, and they basically spread a lot of this stuff. For example, Paul. Muslims don't respect Paul, but I personally, reading and understanding Paul, I have come to know that as much as he's not looked upon greatly in Islam, but when you look at the logic and the way he set up Christianity and the way the church was set up and the way he wanted certain things done, I mean, you have to admit the man was a genius.
No. No.
Okay, fine. That you can disagree. I'm going to tell you my perspective, and if you disagree, brother, that's not a problem. And I'm not a Christian, so don't try to say that I'm some Muslim who pretending to be some guy pretending to be Muslim. No. So we have to look at the logic that Paul has set up. Now, when you look at Islamic empires, the way their systems were set up, you can actually say, wait a minute, this, you can find this in the writings of Paul. So what I'm trying to say is exactly the same thing as David. I think we have so much more in common, so much more. But the fact that we want to up one another, and like just one up, one another, and try to kick each other down, I think that's where we are slowly crumbling, and right now society is facing a direction that's so bizarre and dark, all because the light that is on earth, people are just trying to say, well, look, Islam is better than Christianity. How could Islam be better than Christianity when God says in the Quran that what is in the Quran, it is with the Christians, what is in the Quran is with the Jews? So this means that Muhammad didn't bring anything new. Muhammad actually brought something that has been attested in the Old and the New Testament.
That's right. That's why we call ourselves original Quran only Christians. That's right, Ahmed. Yes, sir.
Anyway, so, long story short.
Can I ask you? Do you follow the Quran alone?
Well, I've studied the Quran. I have a degree in Islamic law, and I've tried to understand the different sects within Islam, the different points of views within Islam. Like, for example, I'll give you an example of sectarianism within Islam. You have a group called the Ahmadiyya.
Yeah.
And these people say that Jesus did not die on the cross, and that Jesus was taken down, and that he migrated towards India. Now, many Muslims in the modern age, and I'm talking 19th century forward, have concluded that, wait a minute, Jesus was given a natural death. Meaning, from the same Quran that two Muslims view, one, they say that he ascended into heaven, and then another group that can read the same book and said, no, he migrated or he died a natural death. And this is reading the same book, the exact same book. But when I read the Quran, I see clearly there was an ascension. According to the Quran, Jesus ascended into the heavens. It's clear. It's there. But when someone brings you a different argument with a different spin on it, and they say, well, look, this verse says this, therefore he could not have gone into the heavens. He must have died a natural death. And of course, as a person who's an erudite, I'm like, okay, I can see that. So this is where I see where you guys are disagreeing with Muslims, and I agree with you, David, where you say that, if the Quran is saying, like, if God created you out of nothing and these are the processes that he used, what do you think? He can resurrect you? And I think that's a beautiful argument. Anyways, I don't want to take too much of your time. I just wanted to say my few words, and I didn't mean to be disrespectful towards you, Thaddeus. Anyways,
no problem.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Thaddeus isn't made of glass, so
Yeah. No
to-
problem.
for your forgiveness.
Believe me, people do far worse on my show. I was just going to say, if you're not familiar with what Avery does, what GodLogic does, you should definitely watch more of his shows, because he is very much about this respectful dialogue about elevating the things, if you will, and getting away from just insulting one another, or as you put it, one-upping one another. So I definitely encourage you to watch more of his programs if you're not already familiar with that, because that's what he's about. And I would say that you're welcome to call into my show as well anytime.
Thank you very much. Thank you, David, for the chat.
Yep.
Thanks, Ahmed. All right. Well, that was nice. It sounded like I didn't get my answer if he was Quran alone, but it sounded like he kind of was. I don't want to assume anything though. But it sounded like he was Quran alone when he talked about sectarians and things of this nature and stuff like that. But I would love to have him on again and see where his mind is at. So it sounds like he agrees with a lot of what we're saying, David and Thaddeus. From a reasonable position too, it sounds.
Yeah. I mean, there wasn't much he said that I would disagree with. So,
and I wanted to because we normally don't make this point because we're normally in like conflict mode. We're arguing, so people are trying to prove a point. But there is for you Christians out there, there's lots of natural theology in the Quran, meaning that the Quran very often is saying, look at that over there. How's that not amazing to you? Look at that over there. How is that not amazing to you? So lots of these things are things that Christians could agree with. But yeah, there is this tendency to, it says this. And even though the point that the Quran is making is something about how you should be in awe of God's creation, they'll try to insert some argument that there's no way anyone could have known this and it's a miracle and this is why you should believe the Quran and reject. And it can ruin it, but two, it very frequently completely distracts from the main point. I mean, we got into a discussion last week. This is what we just talked about, but last week there's this whole discussion about whether Surah 22 verse 5 contains amazing scientific knowledge. Going through it doesn't, but we completely ignored the point that the verse was actually making. The point the verse is actually making is challenging why people would dismiss the concept of resurrections. Like, you just dismiss it as an impossibility. I mean, because notice that's a point you could apply to if you were having a discussion with atheists today and like, that's silly stuff about the resurrection. Like, do you not realize how much amazing stuff is going on right now? Like if you're talking to atheists, wait, you believe a universe could just, blow up and form, but you have a problem with the idea of God raising the dead. It's like, So anyway, I agree completely with what Ahmed was saying there.
Awesome. All right. So let's get a couple of super chats in here, guys. And we have some more guests up here. Rain is back for round 2. So we're going to see how this goes. So we have a super chat from Control Yourself. Thank you so much for your generosity. Says, let's recap. They lied about scientific miracles, perfect preservation, the age of Aisha, Muhammad being piety, the Bible, being a religion of peace, etc., etc. So what else did they lie about? See, notice things keep popping up that they lied about. Hold on. I'm not, bro. We in a low key intermission. I got to read these out. You can respond when we get to you. All right, I'll get to you. I'll let you shine. No worries. Okay. So thank you so much for that. Control yourself. And Paul says, I liked Ahmed. So yeah, he said, I agree with Ahmed. They took the scientific miracles and ran with it. The laymen just blindly follow and repeat it. Now they have to clean up the mess. Absolutely. And that's what we see going on here. Also, guys, ladies and gentlemen, we have over 700 folks in this stream watching us live, and we only have 367 likes. Now, you guys know how we get down in here. 434, that like button. Go ahead and hit it. Hit that like button. Smash it. You guys know how we do, man. Come on. If you guys love how the Muslims are doing, if you guys liked Ahmed, can you guys stop smirking over there, please? I'm trying to be real serious here. 434, that like button, and smash it, man. Thank you. We're already at 400 now. Come on, let's get the likes up to 700 so that we can engage with our new guests up here. All right. So, Rayan, you are on. What's up, bro?
Hello, guys. Hope I'm not like late, like unlike last time. So I do disagree with Ali Dawah. First of all, I do kind of think he refutes himself at the end when he brought up that stupid layers of the darkness miracle. Anyways,
wait, you're a Muslim, right?
Yeah.
We just have to make sure. We just have to make sure. Okay, hold on. Before you continue, let me just read this out. This is the last one. Okay.
No problem.
All right. It says, so Marius, he says, GodLogic, I just started watching your channel. Great stuff, brother. It's 3:30. I'm assuming AM in the UK, but got to watch it all. May our Lord bless you all. 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 14. Man, God bless you, man. And please, I mean, it's recorded, so you can watch it later too. So, but I understand, man. We got good content up here, man. We got Maximus Swagamus and Thaddeus and Shake Logic, man. You can't resist. I know how it
Hey,
is.
you know what? It's weird because last week there was lots of arguing, so I was thinking like Gladiator Arena, so I would call myself Maximus Swagamus, and I get here and we're all like agreeing on everything.
Right,
Anyway,
we're all friends here.
I'm gonna change my name.
All right, so go ahead, Rand. Go ahead.
No problem. So
I am saying it right? Your name? I'm saying it right.
Ryan,
It's
yeah,
Ryan.
it is.
My bad,
Yeah.
bro. You could correct me. Please.
No,
I don't want
it's
to.
fine.
All right, go ahead.
Anyways, one of my favorite ones that I would like to see, like, well, what are the responses you guys make is, I'm sure you've heard of this one because I think it's quite a common one, where I think it's in chapter 96, verse 15, I think it was, where it says about the forehead on the lying part. So I'm just curious to see what's your responses because, like, look, Ali Dawah's points were two things. One, that science changes, which, I mean, that's quite, like, he compares theories to like objective, like, scientific facts. And then the first one, that the Quran's not clear. And I think personally, this miracle doesn't go under the criteria of both of them. Like, it's clear and it's objectively true, I would say.
You're saying that this is an example of something that is objectively true?
Like
the Quran is getting this right?
Yeah, as in, like, something in front of the head is in control of being sinful and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. You're being nice, so I'm okay.
You can talk however you want. I don't really mind. I don't care.
Okay, that's fine. So yeah, I would just say let's read these verses. Well, let me read multiple translations, and then I'll state what the claim is, and you can add anything you want to that so people understand what the claim is. So it's Surah 96 verses 15 to 16. And talking about one of Muhammad's enemies and Allah's warning that he's going to seize him by the normal translation is forelock. So, I'll read the Pickthall of these two verses. Nay, but if he cease not, we will seize him by the forelock, the lying, sinful forelock. So you've got forelock there, and then saying that it's lying and sinful. But let me just give the translations here. So Pickthall, seize him by the forelock. Yusuf Ali, drag him by the forelock. Hilali Khan, catch him by the forelock. Shakir, smite his forehead. That's the closest you get to what is used in the arguments of the Dawah guys who use this as a scientific miracle. Sher Ali, seize and drag him by the forelock. Khalifa, we will take him by the forelock. Arbery, we shall seize him by the forelock. Palmer, drag him by the forelock. Rodwell, we shall seize him by the forelock. Sale, we will drag him by the forelock. And then after it says all these things, it says the lying sinful forelock. So it's common language of the time that if you are controlling someone, if you're going to dominate someone, you grab him by his forelock to show him that you have complete control over him. But then the next verse says lying sinful forelock. And then so the argument that is used for Dawah purposes is when it, what sense does it make to say lying in sinful forelock? What sense does that make? So this must actually be referring to the front portion of the brain, which is the area where you're, making decisions about whether to lie or something like that. So did you want to add anything to that, Ryan?
Yeah, one thing I would like to add. So, like the word forelock there in Arabic, all that refers to is something in front of the head. So again, like most translation does say forelock, which is the hair in front of the head, but in general, it can refer to anything that's in front of the head. That's all I would. That's all I would like to add.
Okay, so let me ask a question here.
No problem. So
I will quote Sunan an-Nasai, and I can give you a matter of fact, I can quote a bunch of them. Sunan an-Nasai 3572. It was narrated that Jarir said, I saw the messenger of Allah twisting the forelock of a horse with his 2 fingers and saying, goodness is tied to the forelocks of horses until the day of resurrection. So he's physically twisting the forelock of a horse and saying, goodness is tied to the forelocks of horses until the day of resurrection. Would you interpret that as having something to do with the brain? Because in other words, I would read the Quran. I would read the Quran the exact same way that it's talking about grabbing someone by the forelock. It says grab him and drag him. If you're saying it's referring to front part of the brain, then he's grabbing him and dragging him by the front part of the brain, which I think you could, in a sense, say that, if Allah is like grabbing someone in like a spiritual sense and making him do what he wants or something like that. But you have a bunch of passages talking about the forelocks, even of animals, and talking about there can be goodness and so on in the forelock. So what I'm asking is, do you think all these passages about forelocks of horses and so on and goodness in the forelocks of the horses, that this is talking about the horse's brain, or is this just actually the forelock of the horse?
What's the hadith again? I just want to see.
Oh, there's a bunch of them. So that was Sunan an-Nasai 3572. And matter of fact, I mean, I don't know if you're looking that up, but I can quote some more for people who are watching. So Sunan Abu Dawud 2542. The messenger of Allah said, "Do not cut the forelocks, manes, or tails of the horse, for their tails are the means of driving flies. Their manes provide them with warmth, and blessing is tied to their forelocks." So you've got the concept that goodness and blessings are tied to having a good forelock. And so when I say, this guy's got an evil forelock, I don't know. It's the way it seems. The way it seems to me is the way I'm reading all these passages having to do with forelocks is that, like, someone who's good, you can easily guide him by the forelock like a horse, and someone who's bad, you really got to grab him by his lying sinful forelock, because he's going to be resisting what you want. So putting this through sort of the paradigm that that Ali Dawah was sort of loosely presenting, but Hamza Tzortzis was presenting more fully, you'd have to say that the science here is settled. And on this issue, I won't dispute the science, even though I think you can, because I have read that lying involves multiple parts of the brain, because it involves memory, remembering what you're lying about and things like that. So it involves multiple parts of the brain. So the remaining 2 features would be, one, is this what the Quran is actually saying? And 2, is it something that Muhammad couldn't have known beforehand. I'll grant that if this is actually talking about the brain being, an area of the brain involving lying, yeah, I'm not familiar with anything that Muhammad could have said. I mean, anything that anyone said beforehand that would give that indication. So the real question would be, is that what the Quran is actually saying? It's saying something about the brain. And I'm just not seeing that when you see this all over the Muslim sources talking about the forelocks and so on, and grabbing someone by the forelocks, and forelock can be good or your forelock can be bad. And that's basically what kind of person you are. So anyway, that's my kind of thoughts.
So I will say just two things. One, I know like there is some other parts of the brain that relates to making like decisions and stuff, but I know the majority and like it's in the front of the head. And then the second thing, I actually was not aware of that hadith, so I think I might need to study that a bit more, because I actually wasn't aware. So I need to like see what scholars say about that. So thanks for bringing that up. I'm just gonna look at it more, and then.
And by the way, what notice what you just did. Perfect. That is exactly that should be the attitude of Christians, of Muslims, of everyone. Hey, here's something that I got. I read it. I saw someone make a case about this. But now an objection has been brought up to that argument, and instead of making a decision, I'm going to go look it up. That is exactly the appropriate response.
Yeah, because I do think the Quran was quite clear, but now with this hadith, I just need to verify. Just check it again. So
yeah, and just so you know, because there are a bunch of them, you could go to a hadith source with a search engine. So you could go into like sunnah.com and type in forelock. It's going to give you a bunch of these kinds of passages involving the forelock.
All right. Anyways, thanks for the response, guys. Thanks.
Yep. By the way, Avery, I got to go and I should be gone already, but I'll hang on for about 5 more minutes.
Yeah, no problem. And I mean, I think that we're pretty much, we've run through everybody. We got one more.
Well, by the way, this is why notice it's actually good, right? Because the same would apply to Christians. If some argument that millions of Christians all believed in, suddenly some Christian stood up and said, that's all wrong, you would have Christians who believe in that going, what, how dare he say that? So at first there's hostility, but all of a sudden it looks like there's a lot we can agree on, and things have calmed down and so on. So this is actually good.
Yeah, a lot of reason being used. People, it looks like the culture of Islam is swaying more and more towards our side. They're starting to like us a lot. What are the odds of that, guys? They're starting to like us, starting to like us and treat us with some respect and kindness. This is good. So, all right, we have one more person here that we haven't spoken to yet. How are you doing, my friend?
My brother, what's going on?
All right, you're a Muslim, right?
Yes, I am. Thanks to David Wood. I'll definitely give him a shout out for that. I converted 3 years ago, and David was a big inspiration. I've been watching him for a while. I know about you. What's your name? Sorry, Sheikh Logic. I know about you because you're from Diego. So I seen you floating around sometimes over there. I'm not familiar with I'm not familiar with the middle guy, but I know I seen you floating around, and David Wood's a legend in the game, man.
Sure is.
Can I take this opportunity to promote my channel?
Sure, go ahead, man. Come on.
Yeah, so my name is Thaddeus. My channel is Reasoned Answers. I don't have like any strong personal connection to Islam. I just got very interested in the material through watching David Wood. So he's the inspiration to both of us. And I saw that Islam, at least in principle, is a history-based religion, just like Christianity, which means you can analyze it from a logical perspective, which is very attractive to me as a way to, or, as something to respond to, because most Christian apologetics is focused on atheism. And frankly, atheism tends to be very boring. It's just all the atheist sits up there and they say, whatever standard you bring, I reject your standard. You don't have any evidence. Therefore, I win, which is very boring. So having conversations with Muslims proved to be a lot more interesting. My channel is Reasoned Answers. And I have these live call-in shows just like Avery.
Yeah. So just real quick before you go, my man, David, I know you see all the time comments from the Muslim side that say, I'm Muslim because of David Wood. You've seen these comments, right?
Yeah, it's actually more common. No, I don't know. It could be totally accurate, but you could post a video. And have you guys seen this before, where you'll post a video and like there will be like 500 comments that all say this made my iman stronger.
Yes, yes.
Like there's no critique of the actual video or showing why the video is wrong or anything. It's just this is making my iman stronger. And I'll see comments. I was an atheist before I watched this video, but now I'm a Muslim, and it's like, wait, there's nothing in the video. There was one criticism. How did one criticism of Islam make you leave atheism? And I'll even see, I showed this to my 3 friends who were all priests, and they all converted after seeing this. And it's like, okay, guys, anything's possible here, but when I keep seeing this as a normal means of responding to something,
now, have you ever had a conversation with someone who says, you converted, I watched you, David Wood, and you converted? Have you ever actually spoken to a person that said that? Is this about to be the first?
It's possible, but I can't recall any. So yeah, this might be the first right now.
Well, this might be the first on GodLogic Apologetics. So I'm actually curious, my man. I mean, what is it about watching David Wood that converted you to Islam?
David has a friend. I know a lot of people know him. We call him Sam the Phony. He's kind of the opposite to
Sam Shimon's a wild dog. He's a
dog. No, hold on. We're not about to do that here. No.
I didn't want to go too crazy into it, but I'm just saying, in terms of demeanor, I say that David does come off as kind of a relaxed type of guy, and someone that is there's some people that go out and just kind of like try to bash, their goal is to bash. Sometimes I watch David and I see a guy, who, is on the search for the truth, and someone that's just, trying to get the facts. And he has made a couple good points about Islam in terms of, everything these days is a marketing ploy, and from both sides, from Muslims to Christian.
That is becoming a problem for everyone, in the sense that now in an online atmosphere, everyone has to compete for attention.
Exactly. So
since you're having to compete for attention, so they're put it this way, there are all sorts of ways to get attention, right? And
exactly, that's attention is the biggest drug you can have, and I do find you. Now, someone told me that you ate a Quran page before, but I don't know if that was true, and I didn't see it myself. But I would.
Oh yeah, I'll give you the background. Then I have to go. So maybe if you have a quick point that I can respond to,
David's running from that.
That situation. I assume he's joking. But the background of that, which strangely gets omitted, was Muhammad Hijab was sending out these veiled threats of rape and torture and towards women, and he announced to his followers, instead of now going after the critics of Islam, we're going to go after their wives. We're gonna go after their not physically, but he was instructing his followers to find these women online and then launch this campaign of harassing them with these threats of rape and torture. And so in response to that, I said, if you're going down that road, if you were saying, hey, don't address them, instead go after their wives, you're not doing that, because I will eat your Quran. I will start a Quran desecration channel if I need to, but I'm going to stop you from doing that. And so it was, hey, if you're going down that, and by the way, I stand by, you could give me that opportunity to make that decision. Hey, we're now going to be targeting your wives instead of you. 100 times out of 100 times, I will do what's necessary to stop that from happening.
I disagree with either of those things.
I would too. I would not normally do that. It was. Right. I've had for many years, I've been aware of Surah 6 verse 108, where that's the verse where the polytheists of Mecca announced, hey, if you keep criticizing our gods and goddesses, then we're going to mock Allah in return. And Allah says, if they're going to mock your religion in return, then stop with the mockery. And so I've been aware that is a verse in the Quran, and that if people are going in a certain negative direction, you can always say, hey, if you're going to escalate here, I'm going to escalate against your religion, not because I want to escalate against the religion, but as This is something where your God actually commands you to stop that behavior that you're doing. Your God commands you, and so I will enforce that on you. And so you could disagree with us and so on. I just that is the historical background. So
got it.
Yeah.
It goes both ways, you know. Like there, if our religions were based on what people did, then we would all fall very short of, you know, the books and stuff. I know you got to go, so just to kind of speed it up a little, but in turn, I don't know, I think Muslims and Christians, like, there's always like we're reading the same thing, but it's always like two different views to what they kind of read. In terms of Ali Dawah, like, just to kind of stay on topic, even though I'd love to take it a ton of places, you know, I think that I didn't get the same take out of it that you guys did, because the way I looked at it was that he was basically saying that what we're basically talking about is that Muslims now, there's a lot more you know, Dawah people popping up on the scene, and everybody's trying to get their name out there. So everyone's looking for that shiny gimmick to kind of, you know, attract people in. I mean, undeniably, right? We know Islam is the most growing religion in the world amongst Latinas. I know, bro, over here, you from San Diego, you know what's good, you know, and it's all floating around from Latinas to in Japan to, you know, even in California right now. So, you know, that doesn't necessarily prove something right or wrong. But I will say that, you know, a lot of people are trying to get that attention. And I think Ali Dawah was trying to say that, hey, like, everyone's trying to show these like scientific miracles, and people are bending certain verses to try like make it fit in with science. But this is not how we, like, the Quran is like, that's not how we do it with the Quran. The Quran is the ultimate word in itself. And that if we try to bend it with science, like you said, sometimes we're you know, taking verses out of context, and like you said, sometimes adding a little, you know, Tabasco sauce on stuff too.
So do you believe that the Quran has scientific facts in it at all, or
exactly? Yeah. So that's my last point, is that just because he said that, first of all, Ali Dawah is not the spokesperson for Islam, you know, just as Sam Shimon is not the spokesperson for you guys, right? I mean, if he was your spokesperson, so it's kind of like, you know, both ways it works. I mean, what he's allowed to say his point. He's popping. He got followers.
Is he the spokesperson?
No, man. Listen, just in the same way that you go off of the Bible, you know, and Jesus is teaching, if they slap one cheek, you know, give him the other one. We go based off of all what the Prophet said, especially the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon them all. You know, so
good,
it's like
good.
So it's like and I've watched you both, by the way. I know David. He had a debate with who's the tall guy from England? I forgot what his name
Muhammad
is.
Hijab.
Oh, is that who it was?
The one who said that Allah prays for Muhammad.
Oh yeah, he destroyed David Wood, man.
Yeah, he destroyed him by saying that Allah.
He didn't know the Arabic. He didn't know the Arabic on live TV, bro. That's just crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean,
wait. Who didn't?
David Wood, you, my son.
What did I Well, hang on, because I have to go. But what did I get wrong Arabic wise?
We can pull it up. We can pull up the whole video.
What did I get wrong?
GodLogic,
What did I get wrong?
The video.
Oh,
wait,
man.
What did I get wrong?
You made a specific claim. I don't remember exactly what it was.
Oh, you don't even remember the claim. Darn.
You made a specific claim, and it was because you didn't know the Arabic.
How convenient.
It was Yusalli. It was about the word Salli. It was
because I was saying what?
I don't remember exactly. I watched it pretty recently.
I'll tell you exactly.
It was something about you saying we prayed to that Allah prayed to Muhammad.
That was a lie. I will convert. Okay. I will convert to Islam if you show me saying that in that debate. Here's what's absolutely amazing, and I have to go with this. Here's what's absolutely amazing. I said, according to the Quran, Surah 33:56, Allah prays for Muhammad. I said Allah prays for Muhammad.
There you go. That's what I said.
And then Muhammad Hijab stood up and said, he's going to have to give me a free Arabic lesson. I don't know what I'm talking about. And he said to the audience, David says that Allah prays to Muhammad. It's not to Muhammad. It's for Muhammad. And then the crowd burst into cheers. You're saying exactly what? Did you pay attention? I said Allah prays for Muhammad. If you want to say that's wrong, fine, say that's wrong. But Muhammad Hijab got up, said that I said something I didn't say, then agreed with what I actually said, claimed to refute me, and the entire audience burst into cheers. And to this day, Muslims come up to me, haha, you said this thing that they didn't hear from me. They somehow zero in on what Muhammad Hijabs says that I claimed, and then they all cheer for it. But anyway, the reason that's actually an excellent point, because we're talking about attention, we're talking about people who are sort of rallying around different people and so on. And again, this is for anyone who doesn't know, everyone's going to have to deal with this, and it's going to be in increasing fashion, because when people start feeling like they're in danger because there are all these ideas that are coming at them and so on, the tendency is to rally around some hero. And then once you rally around some hero, then the tendency is not to question him, because that would threaten your membership in the group, which is there to protect you and so on.
Honestly,
So
David, I feel like you haven't recovered from that debate. You haven't recovered since then.
All right. Anyway, hey, David, before you go, just because I wanted to kind of get one scientific.
Oh, wait. Let me just finish that point right there. So notice, think of this from a non-Muslim's perspective.
Right.
I stand up and I say, hey, I have an issue with the theology here. It says that Allah prays for Muhammad.
Right.
Allah and his angels pray for Muhammad. And then the response, haha, David said this, which I didn't say. He said he was waiting for it, which means he knows that I've been using that criticism, so he knows what I actually said. He said, David said this, something I never said. And then he agrees with what I actually said, which is like his stamp of approval on what I actually said. And then for years, Muslims boast that I've been destroyed. From a non-Muslim's perspective, we're looking at that and going, is this what Dawah actually is? Someone makes something up, pretends to respond to it, actually agrees, and you just cheer because no one's actually paying attention to what was actually said. They just pay attention to, I refuted him. Well, anyway, the point is we understand that anyone can jump into a discussion. I destroyed you. Right. And if you're looking at what's actually said. So the point is, if you're looking at that from a non-Muslim perspective, you're going, that's actually concerning, that he could literally just say anything he wants right there.
But is it vice versa?
And they would cheer for him.
But it's vice versa too, right? I mean, Sam said
that's true for everyone.
Sam said he got in the room with Dr. Zach and Ike and destroyed him in 3 minutes and left the room. I mean, it's like everybody's got their story, and everybody,
The difference is it's on video, bro. The difference is it's on video.
No, bro, but see, I don't know who's talking right now, but you're doing too much, because it's I would have to look at it more specific. But what I wanted to bring up from that debate, just to kind of round it out, is that you've heard Muslims say, that the goal of us talking to Christians should always be come to common terms, right? You heard that in the debate. That's what he opened up with in that debate. And any Muslim who's talking from a logical side, that's our goal, is to come to common terms, because we have more in common than we don't.
Not with people who eat the Quran, bro.
So,
not with people who eat the Quran, who depict the Prophet.
Or people who say they're going after people's wives.
Muslims have done bad things. Christians have done bad things, brother. All my friends growing up are Christian. I'm a Muslim till the end, and it's like I respect Christians.
I respect Christians too, just not this one. I respect. I understand. I don't respect David Wood, bro.
I understand. Nah, David Wood changed my life in the way.
Avery, you're muted.
David Wood changed my life in the way.
Do you think that Muhammad Hijab was correct when he said that Allah prays for Muhammad?
I mean, we can talk about that later. Like that, I'd have to brush up on my Arabic skills,
I have to go. So if there's any final thing that involves me, no.
So my thing to you is just, I want to hear your point on just a very simple scientific miracle about the water, about the two oceans of water not crossing, like the salty water and then the regular water, and how a prophet or how somebody 1400 years ago could have seen that or could have known that, basically. What do you think?
So the question is, how could someone 14 centuries ago know that there's fresh water over here and there's salt water over here, and I can drink the fresh water and not the salt water, and there's a barrier in between them?
Right, but that's not specific. That's being picky with the words, because what it's mostly talking about is the barrier between the two, and they do not cross with each other. right?
Read your commentaries. Up until this was used as a Dawah argument, it was said that the barrier is land. In other words, they're thinking a lake over here and a sea over here, and there's the barrier is
where's that?
There's land between them. If I recall correctly, it's Ibn Kathir. You want to look it up real quick? Look up Ibn Kathir.
I'm saying from the
Ibn
Quran.
Kathir, al-Tabari, and al-Qurtubi all say it.
Yeah. So they say that land is the barrier that's being referred to there. If you're saying it's something else, there is no barrier.
Well, I mean, have you seen the picture of the ocean where the soul and I forgot where the, right.
Yeah.
So that's obviously not land. I don't go off of it. Right. Go ahead.
Yeah. So let me break this down. Then I have to bolt, but you guys can talk about this more. Okay. This is actually a perfect example. This is a perfect example of what Hamza Tzortzis was saying. So you'd have to say, you've got your science, and then you've got what the Quran is actually saying, and then there's whether this could be known ahead of time. So for many centuries, Muslims understood that, and keep in mind this ties into what we were talking about earlier, where you got Surah 22:5, which is hey, if you doubt the resurrection, just think about human beings being created. Why would you think a resurrection is impossible when amazing stuff is happening? But here it's a similar thing. It's like there's all this natural theology in the Quran about the way things are set up. And the way I read a passage like this is something I could totally agree with. It's like, hey, God has made it so that you have sea for sea life, and you've got seawater for that, but you can't drink it. But over here, he's got fresh water.
But is that not scientific miracle? Isn't that miracle that
knowing that I can drink out of this water and that I can't drink that water is not miraculous scientific knowledge. Anyone at the time could have known that.
No, that's not the miraculous part. The miraculous part is about the two seas, right? That there's a barrier that is not visible to the human eyes, right? It's not about. That's
not what it says.
I mean, okay, we could read I don't know how much time you have, but we can read it.
Yeah, I have to go, but yeah, Thaddeus, if you want to go through that passage, and Ava, if you want to look at it, and then pull up the commentaries, and catch y'all later. It was a cool live stream, and it was pretty friendly most of the time. So that's all.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Appreciate you, David. Thanks.
That's called. See, it's progress. Things can be heated at certain times, but then it calms down. All right, catch y'all later.
For sure. Take care, bro. All right, this will be the final point too. That is, you deal with this thoroughly.
Okay. Yep. So I have a presentation on this. I'll go ahead and share my screen. I think it'll be helpful to kind of see what we're talking about.
And thank you for the super chat. His Minister of Fire. He said, "Here's the jizya." Appreciate it, bro.
So we got the miracle of the seas not mixing. It's usually 55, 19, 20 is the most common verse. It's listed a couple places in the Quran, but it's the most common one. Sahih International here. He released the two seas, meeting. Translator adds side by side. Between them is a barrier. Neither of them transgresses.
Right.
This down here is just one specific Muslim that I'm responding to making the claim, but we already got the claim, so we can just go on from that. So here on the second slide, this particular Muslim I'm responding to, they also drew on this verse 25:53. And is he who released the two seas, one fresh and sweet and one salty and bitter, and he placed between them a barrier and prohibiting partition. You can see it's kind of the same material. So I have 5 criteria that I use to evaluate any scientific miracle claim. One, it has to be true, i.e. it has to match scientific consensus. That's fairly obvious, right?
This does that, right? So that's one.
Yeah. Okay. So that's going to be the first one, and well, yes and no. So it's going to actually say no, not really on my slide, and the reason is because I'm responding to what that specific Muslim said, which may or may not be exactly what you said. Now, what we're going to get down to is the contention. The gist is going to be: is there a fixed barrier in the sea, right? Because this says that between them is a barrier, neither of them transgresses. So there's some sort of barrier. You're going to claim that this is an invisible, unseen barrier. The water doesn't transgress, and that's actually not accurate. This picture, which you alluded to, this is glacial water running off into the Bay of Alaska. It's been it's been labeled many other things, but that's what this picture actually is. It is a glacial runoff, that's fresh water running into the sea. And what's actually happening, although there's this distinct color difference, right, is that they're mixing. They are literally mixing. There's no barrier here. It's just that because fresh water is lighter and there's a lot of it going into the sea, that for a period of time, it remains on the surface before it sinks. And this barrier, this so-called barrier, this meeting point, is constantly changing. It's constantly moving
Wait,
around.
so you said, sorry to interrupt. You said they mix, right? But if you drank one side of that versus the other side, would they taste different?
Well, okay, they mix at a point. Obviously, they don't mix everywhere, which is what the Quran is actually talking about. It's talking about how rivers don't mix with the ocean doesn't overcome the river and make the river salty. So yeah, on the one side is fresh water, and the other is salt water. But there's no barrier. There's just a mixing point. So the force of the water going into the ocean is.
You're saying mixing. You're saying mixing point, but where is there three? Because there's one side of the line. Sure. Sorry. Go ahead.
The visual you see in this picture is the mixing point. It's the same principle as what you have it when you have a freshwater river run into the sea.
So what's the mixing point? How would the water taste at that mixing point?
The term used is brackish. It's semi-salt. Like it's not as salty as salt water, but it's not freshwater either. The term used is brackish. So, at this exact point, I mean, it's going to depend on where you dip your glass, obviously, into the ocean, exactly how it's going to taste. But there's a barrier should keep them from mixing, right? The barrier isn't transgressed. They should never mix, but in fact, they are mixing, and the runoff is just strong enough that it doesn't mix at the exact shore. And the same thing happens at rivers. When you have a river coming in, if it's a big, powerful river, the fresh water goes out into the ocean for a period of time before it completely mixes. But if you sample right next to the shore, it's almost 100% fresh. You sample out 100 feet or whatever, it might be 70% fresh water. 200 feet, it might be 40% fresh water. It's a gradual process of mixing the more you go out.
Right, but you haven't, in my eyes at least, you haven't proven that the water does mix, because you just said that the fresh water is less salty or it's less dense, than the other water. So it wouldn't. How would it? Like, I'm trying to figure out. Okay,
right. So
this water will taste like that. This water will taste like that. So you're telling me brackish water. So where would that, in that picture, where would the brackish water be?
Yeah, so it's going to be like right at the edge here,
like in the white partition,
like the whitish part, right? Where it's kind of like it looks like a little wave. That's probably going to be like 90% fresh, and then if you go out, in this case, just a couple inches, it's going to be 70%. Then a couple more inches, it's going to be 40% or whatever. In this particular case, it's going to be really fast, the mixing, so it's going to be right there, and you can actually duplicate this principle in your own home. You can make like a glass of really salty water, and if you pour fresh water on top of it, as long as you pour it slowly enough, it's not going to mix initially, but if you wait a day or something, it'll be mixed. So it's not a barrier, it's just that the process isn't instantaneous.
Okay, so referring to that, you're basically saying that it cannot be a scientific miracle then?
Well, so I have 5 criteria, right? So let's not worry about the true one for the moment, because that was the why I say it's not really exactly true. But that's actually going to be less relevant, I think, probably to you than the other criteria. So let me just go ahead and introduce sorry, my cat's blocking my monitor, so I'm struggling to see where the button is to advance the slide. Okay, so here I said it. I said that the viral picture is glacial runoff, and this particular Muslim that I'm responding to signals out the Mediterranean Sea, and that's very common. That's the usual one that they point to between the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea, claiming there's no mixing, which is simply false. And then this picture right here. This picture is something that's often cited as proof of this miracle, and the irony here is that I tracked down the book it comes from, and the coloring has been added to try to make it look like there's not mixing. But what the diagram is supposed to show is how the Atlantic Ocean is going into the Mediterranean basin, and a small amount of the Mediterranean Sea is spilling out, and it's down lower because it's denser water, and the Atlantic is at the top. And like, if you just look at the the coloring in the picture, like, oh, they're not mixing, but that's not what the author who drew this picture is actually saying at all, because those coloring isn't there in the original version. So yeah, that's his quote about it, but I won't worry about that since you didn't make the Mediterranean Sea. And here you can kind of see the same phenomenon with a muddy river, right? You can see how the river is going into the bigger body of water. I don't know exactly what river this is, so I can't say what the body of water is, but the small river is going into the bigger body of water, and you can see how, since it's been raining and there's mud in it, you can see how it's not like mixing immediately. But if you look really closely and you zoom in, you can see that at the edges it's starting to mix.
Yeah, but okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and the Muslim I was responding to claimed that the same thing happens at rivers. So that's why I was doing that. So let's now look at what the tafsir say, because this is one of the criteria that I have, is that the tafsir have to actually agree with the interpretation. That doesn't mean every tafsir has to say it, but if the verse actually says what is claimed, then someone should have said it, right? They should have said that one possible interpretation of this verse is that there's an invisible barrier somewhere out there in the sea. And so, as David alluded to, Ibn Kathir, he just straight up says it's dry land, right? That the barrier being discussed is dry land, that Allah in his wisdom, he put the fresh water that's useful to humans in lakes and elsewhere, then he put a barrier of water between it, or I mean a barrier of land between it, and then the salty water that's useless to human beings, or at least not very useful to human beings. So Al-Tabari says that it offers three interpretations. He says it could be dry land. He says that it might refer to the separation between the water of the sky and the water of the land. So here he's alluding to the common belief at the time that the sky is a barrier that keeps water out. And so he was thinking that it might be that. Or the third interpretation he offers is that it's metaphorical, and that it's actually referring not to water at all, but to people who are salty and people who are sweet, i.e. people who are receptive to the message of Islam and people who are opposed to it. And Qurtubi offers the same interpretations as Al-Tabari. So these are the three best ancient commentaries. And to the best of my knowledge, there isn't any commentary which says anything about the sea, about an invisible barrier in the sea. They all think that it's some sort of obvious barrier. And I think the reason they think this is because, going back to the verse real quick, it specifically says, sorry, there's the criteria, the two seas, right? It doesn't say that where seas meet, there's a barrier, but it says it says the two seas, right? Definite article that it thinks there is two types of seas. And then sorry, I keep hitting the wrong button. And then when you compare it to 2553, which explicitly says one fresh and one sweet, all the tafsirs are interpreting in this way, that it's talking about the division between fresh water and salty water, as opposed to the phenomenon that I think it's called like a picocline or something like that, which is actually just a barrier, a quote unquote barrier, which isn't really a barrier, in between any two bodies of water. They could both be salty, right? This picture is sometimes labeled as the meeting point of the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean, or the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean, or something else, because it's supposedly the barrier that's keeping these two large bodies of water apart from one another.
All right, I'm reading Katir right now. I'm not quite. It's not quite what you're saying, because what I'm reading of what he said was that it was a divine barrier between the two, so that can't be seen. So he is saying that it can't be seen, and that it's a divine barrier between the sweet water and the salt water.
Which verse is that in reference to? Because I was specifically
the tafsir. I was talking about the tafsir.
Yeah. So the tafsir on which verse? Because the tafsir I looked at was on 55, but he could say something different about one of the other verses, because it's in the Quran about 4 times.
Right. So well, he's talking about all of them: 55, 19 through 21, 27, 61, and
Yeah, but the tafsir is organized by verse. So can you tell me which verse he's talking about when he says that, so I can look it up later? I mean, I can look. I guess I could look at them all.
It's
But I mean,
the one
if
you're
it's
it's the one you're
confirming,
talking it's the one you're talking about 55:19 through 21.
okay.
It says he's saying he has set a barrier and a complete partition between them, meaning that the sweet water and the salt water means a complete partition means a barrier to prevent one of them from reaching the other. So it has nothing
Right.
to do with it has nothing to do with
Well, he goes on. He goes on to describe it as dry land. So that's just saying there is a barrier. I don't disagree that he would say that. But you said that he said something about it being invisible.
yeah, about it being a divine barrier not seen by the eye.
But then what you just read didn't say anything about being not being seen by the eye. And
So environment means dry land means one of them from reaching the other. Okay, so this is for the 2761. Then I was wrong. So it's for 2761, which also refers to it as well. Either or, just in big picture, you know, I think that's like a yoga stretch trying to say that's not a scientific miracle, just because I feel like
I haven't actually finished giving you my reasons.
No, and I didn't even talk. I was just listening the whole time.
Yeah. You've been very respectful.
My thing is that like there's a lot of like yoga stretching and stuff going on when it comes to that, because it's like you can I mean, atheists do it the best, right? They just try to prove everything. Like I could tell you, like I was on a hike yesterday. I was looking at the mountain, the ocean, everything. Like I could tell you, like, yo, look at this. How could God not have? How could there not be a God? And they'll come sit down and try to give you all these theories and stuff on the, you know, whatever they want to. So I don't know. I'm personally not satisfied in your answer in terms of me changing my opinion, but that's okay, because it's not we're not here to convert people, you feel me? But it's like it's more just
we gotta wrap up, guys.
Yeah. So I looked at 2761 and I'm not seeing the words that you said. So it could be a different translation, but I'm not seeing it.
That's what I'm saying, man. We all gotta learn Arabic. Hey, man, if y'all
Bro,
really
you got we're gonna be live tomorrow. I'm gonna be live tomorrow. You got time? You can come back.
Same time?
That works for you?
Oh,
I'm actually gonna be alive a little earlier, like probably at Are you from Cali?
Yeah, I'm from the west side, bro. I'm from Bompton.
Sure. Okay, so
but I was in San Diego in my days.
You was in San Diego in your days.
I was with I was with the Somalians. You feel me?
We got to meet together and do a video, man.
Oh, bro, I'm not even in this world, bro. Like the religion world. Like I just am interested in it, but I leave that to Uthman and the Warner and all them guys.
I care about your soul, man. So.
Brother, I care about yours too, bro. Come on,
exactly.
man. Like,
so
he wants to give you the tracks, bro. He wants to blow up the tracks and all that.
So we should talk.
Hey, bro, the church wasn't even letting us drink from the water fountain until 1980s, bro. Come on,
I don't care about all that. I care about the truth.
Can I ask you to do something for me? Can you post a link? Yeah, can you post a link to what you're reading so that I can look at it?
Yeah, I got my laptop. I'll send it to my phone, and I'll be back.
Yeah. Just post. Post a link in the comments. Once the stream ends, you'll be able to post a link in the comment section.
What's your channel? What's your channel?
Oh yeah. You can go to my channel, reasonedanswers.com, or I mean, reasonedanswers.com. Yeah, well, I do have reasonedanswers.com. But that's not what I meant to say. Go to Reason Answers, my channel, or email me. I'll put my email in the private chat.
Yeah, I want to ask bro a question real quick. What's your name, bro?
We gotta go. You talking about me?
No. Yeah. I'm not a question about religion. Just a question. So I seen you in San Diego, you know, debating. So I just had one simple question. Do you respect Uthman?
No.
You don't respect him?
No.
Oh, okay, got it. I just want to know. All right, bet.
I respect a lot of people, but once someone loses my respect, and he lost my respect as a person.
So does that mean you'll stop going to his booth, or you still?
Of course not. Of course not. He's out
Okay.
there lying to people. So we're gonna address and take down the lies.
Got it, bro. All right, bet. Well,
But yeah, I'll be live tomorrow, man. If you got time, come on through. It'll be
yeah.
more of an open discussion, so we won't be focused so much on scientific stuff. We'll be talking about
Perfect.
anything. We'll be talking about the Bible and everything, bro.
Don't make me start with
Yeah.
John 2017. I'm coming hot. If we talk
All
about
right,
the
yeah,
Bible,
come hot, come hot,
Awesome.
come hot.
Awesome.
All right,
So
come on.
I put my email in the private chat. So if you
Got
could
it.
do me a favor and email me what you're looking at so I can check it out.
Oh,
I
yeah.
could be wrong, right? I'm
I
open to
got
the
it.
possibility of being wrong.
All right, I appreciate you, boys.
But
Keep,
yeah,
keep
let
doing
me
your thing.
tell you why. Let me just tell you why really quick.
Yeah.
Uthman lied about something about me, and we both agreed that once we went back and checked the video, if one of us like was mistaken, that we would come out and say that we were mistaken. So once it came out that he actually was untrue about what he said about me, he still hasn't honored his word. So I do not have respect for him.
Like about you personally, or
Yes, about me personally.
oh, so not to do with religion. Got it.
Oh yeah, our discussion, and he said that I lied. It's a personal attack, saying that I'm a liar. So he's attacking me personally.
Man,
and saying
everybody think everybody a liar, man.
no,
Come on,
no.
it's like it's-
Point, but my point is when you say that someone is a liar, and then you say I have
Mhm.
proof, and we say okay, let's shake on it as men that if you are wrong about this, that you will come up and you will apologize publicly and renounce what you said. And we both shook and said, yeah, we would do that. And it's been proven that he was wrong, and he still hasn't come out and did
But
that.
did he prove it? Did he say he was wrong, or did you just say it was wrong?
We proved that he was wrong from the clip of the video, because he said that I said something and did something that I didn't do or say. It's in the video. I have a whole video on it.
Got it. So it's a little more personal than just like it's a little more personal than just religion, because he got a lot of knowledge. Bro.
It's a personal attack, and so you asked me, when you ask me, do I respect someone? That's a personal
I understand.
thing.
No, I understand. I understand. I thought I was talking more about the knowledge. I didn't even know stuff got that personal.
No, not even his knowledge. He doesn't know anything.
Come on, bro.
I'm serious.
Come on,
he
bro.
didn't even know. He said that he has all these little stickies in his Bible and tries to pretend that he knows the Bible and he studied it. And he didn't even know when I told him to go to 1 Corinthians, he didn't even know which way to go.
Bro, come on, bro.
It's all of it is on video. His ignorance is on video, bro. I'm not even like being biased or anything.
Bro, that's how I found out about you, bro. I was watching both of y'all. You be up in there. I ain't gonna lie. If they blocking you, you putting the camera, you lifting that camera up, doing the slam dunk with it. I seen you, but you know, I'm still saying, bro, like, come on, bro. Like you can't say that bro's not. If anything, bro, like he do be giving you the work sometimes. Come on. He be giving you the work.
Not me. There's
Bro,
no work that he gives
you wear glasses out there, huh? Or is that your twin?
So this is what I would love. I would love when you come back next time. I want you to tell me exactly where he made a good point against me. Okay,
man, that MacArthur Bible. I remember Isaiah 42 or 22. Which one, man?
Come back. We'll talk about it. Come back. We'll talk.
Let's talk about
it. All right, y'all. Hey, y'all have a good night, though. All right.
You too, man. Be safe, man.
Right,
be safe in
up.
Bumpton.
All right, bless up.
All right, that is. Well, stream well done, man, by the grace of God, man. Right.
Amen. It was a good stream today. We had some good discussions for sure. And I think that every Muslim agreed with us on the basic principle that you can't use scientific miracles in the Quran as evidence for the truth of Islam.
That's right. That's right. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is Thaddeus from Reason Answers. If you have not subscribed to his channel yet, please go ahead and subscribe. He also does live streams where he invites people on and things of this nature. So go ahead and subscribe if you love this type of content. So it's not just me, but we got brothers out here like Thaddeus that do the same thing. As well, if you want to support this channel, you want to support me in the ministry, we're trying to do full time. Please consider becoming a patron. All my links are in the description if you want to use PayPal or Zelle or Cash App or something, or if you just want to become a patron, I would love that as well. Whatever works for you. I'm grateful for everything. Okay, but make sure that you hit a like on this video. Make sure you hit that like button, and always know this: that you need to stay away from Islam. That abortion is murder. And that there's only one God who is triune, who in the person of his son came down, Thaddeus, died for our sins, took the punishment that we deserved, rose on the third day in authority, and is ascended next to the right hand of the Father, full of grace and truth. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the only way to salvation. And that's the God logic right there. All right, peace.